Hello students, this is Nirmala from Vivekananda Academy of Human Excellence. Today we are going to see class 10th Geography Manufacturing Industries. In this lesson we will see about manufacturing, different types of industries. So what is mean by manufacturing? Production of goods in large quantities after processing from raw material to more valuable product is known as manufacturing. For example, sugar from sugarcane, cloth from cotton, paper from wood, iron from iron ore. These are the examples of manufacturing. Then what is need of manufacturing? Manufacturing is needed for economic strength of a country, which is measured from the development of manufacturing industries. It is the backbone of our economy. They reduce the dependence of people on agriculture. With manufacturing, jobs will be provided to most of the people. With manufacturing, export of manufactured goods will increase. It will bring foreign exchange. Manufacturing will eradicate poverty and unemployment. Countries that transform their raw materials into a wide variety of furnished goods of higher value are prosperous. It is true that which countries have transformed their raw material into wide variety of furnished goods, all those countries are now well known and those are called as developed country as well as those are prosperous countries in this world. And that's why manufacturing is needed in our country. Now we'll see the factors affecting location of industries, on which basis the industries can be located. There are two factors, geographical factors and non-geographical factors. In geographical factors, there are three types: availability of raw materials, availability of water and good climate. On these three bases, these three geographical factors affect the location of industry. Now we'll see non-geographical factors. In this, availability of electricity, cheap and skilled labor, transport and communication facilities, market, capital investment and suitable government policies are there. If all these facilities are available in non-geographical factors like electricity is available, skilled and cheap labor is there, transport and communication facilities are available, market is nearby, capital investment is there, money is there to invest and government's policies are also suitable, in this case industries can be formed. Now we'll see the classification of industries. Industries are classified into 5 categories. Those are: first, raw material; second, main role; third, capital investment; fourth, ownership; and fifth, bulk and weight of raw material and finished good. Now we'll see in detail that raw material based industries. In that, raw material, first is agro based industries, second is mineral based industries and third marine based industries are also there. On the basis of main role, there are two categories: basic or key industries and consumer industries. In third type, capital investment, there are again two or generally three types are there: cottage industries which are run in house itself, small scale industries and large scale industries. Fourth classification is ownership. On the basis of ownership, there are 4 types: public industries or private industries, joint sector industries and cooperative sectors. Fifth classification of industry is bulk and weight of raw material and finished goods. The industries which are based on the weight of the raw material and ready good. In these two categories are there heavy industries and light industries. Which material contains weight? Those industries are called as heavy industries such as iron ore or iron and steel industries. And the industries which contain light material, that industries are called as light industries. In this way, in the classification of industries, we have seen 5 types of classification. Now we'll turn towards detail on the basis of source of raw material, agro-based industries and mineral-based industries. In agro-based industries, it makes the use of agricultural raw materials. For example, cotton, wool, jute, silk, textile, rubber and sugar, tea, coffee, etc. These all the crops are agro-based or they are the raw material of agro-based industries. Mineral-based industries use minerals as raw materials. Iron and steel, cement, aluminium, machine, tools, etc. To use these industries or to give them input, it is mineral based. According to their main role, now classification is again in two types: basic or key industries and consumer industries. In basic and key industries, these industries supply their products to or raw materials to manufacture other goods. For example, iron and steel and copper smelting, aluminium smelting, etc. In consumer industries, produce goods for direct use by consumer. These industries produce the material to use directly. For example, sugar, toothpaste, paper, etc. On the basis of capital investment, there are again two types, and mainly I told third type is there, that is cottage industry first of all, which is done on the house itself with the family members. Second is small scale industries. If the investment is less than 1 crore, then it is known as small scale industry. This is run by less number of people. Only family, relatives and nearby people can run this small scale industry with less of equipment or less of machines. For example, Khansari, Gur, etc. Large scale industries, if the investment is more than 1 crore, then it is known as large scale industry. Labors are more in this industry. For example, cotton textile industries, etc. Next type is on the basis of ownership, public sector and private sector. Public sector is owned and operated by government agencies, for example, BHEL and SAIL, etc. In these examples are United India Insurance, Indian Oil, Bharat Petroleum, or many more are there. In private sector, this is owned and operated by individuals or a group of individuals. In this, Tisco, Bajaj Auto Limited, Dabur Industries, these symbols are used, or these different types of industries are included in private sector. The next point is joint sector and cooperative sector. In joint sector, the industries which are jointly run by the state and individuals or a group of individuals. For example, Oil India Limited. Oil is jointly owned by public and private sector. Cooperative sector industries are owned and operated by the producers or suppliers of raw materials, workers, or both. They pool in the resources and share the profits or losses proportionately. In cooperative sectors, whatever it is profit or loss, so it will be bear by both the people or whoever may be the participant of the sector or participant of the industry. For example, sugar industry in Maharashtra, the coir industry in Kerala are the examples of cooperative sectors. Next type of industries are based on the bulk and weight of raw materials and finished goods. There are two types, heavy industries and light industries. In heavy industries, these industries use heavy and bulky raw materials and produce heavy materials. For example, iron and steel industry. Light industries use light raw materials and produce light materials. For example, electric fans, watches, sewing machines, etc. Now we'll see first example, that is agro-based industries. In that, cotton textile industries. The first cotton textile mill was set up in Mumbai in 1854. The cotton textile is mainly located in Maharashtra and Gujarat because availability of raw cotton as black cotton soil is present, good transport facilities including port facilities, availability of labor, good moist climate, so these are the points or these are the factors affecting the location of these cotton textile industries in Maharashtra and Gujarat. Main exports of cotton: Japan, USA, UK, France, Sri Lanka, Nepal, East European countries, etc. Cotton textile is produced by three methods in India. Those are handloom, power looms and mills. In these three ways, cotton textile is produced. Cotton textile industry involves ginning, spinning, weaving, dyeing, designing, tailoring and packaging to produce ready-made garments. So there is a long process to convert a cotton into a ready-made garment. Whether all these successful textile mills, then there are many of the challenges in front of these cotton textile industries. We'll see the challenges. First is scarcity of food, good quality cotton. So scarcity of good quality cotton was there. Main cotton growing area went to Pakistan during division. So which best cotton growing area was there in Pakistan, which has separated after the independence. Then old machineries are still used that have not repaired, that have not changed also, not replaced also. Again, this is one challenge in front of the industries. Erratic power supply, which was not regular or not proper power supply, was low output from labor. Labors which are working, they are not giving proper output for the work. Though tough competition from synthetic fibers. So there was synthetic fiber started to manufacture by the other companies, and then this fiber has started to give a stiff competition to cotton industries. You can see the pictures like spinning mill is there, then cotton textile mills in India. Mostly these cotton textile industries are concentrated in Maharashtra, Madhya Pradesh and Gujarat like Ahmedabad, Porbandar, Rajkot, Vadodara, Surat, Ujjain, Devas, Indore, Jalgaon, Wardha, Aurangabad, Pune, Mumbai, etc. In southern states, Tamil Nadu and in Tamil Nadu itself, three sectors are there, three industries at Chennai, Coimbatore, and Madurai. In eastern states, West Bengal, Murshidabad, Howrah, and Hooghly, these three places have cotton textile industries. Then in Kanpur, Agra, and Moradabad, in northern states, these places have cotton textile industries. Now we move forward. Second is jute textiles. India is the largest producer of raw jute and jute goods. There are about 70 jute mills in our country. First jute mill was set up in Rishra, Kolkata in 1859. Jute is used in making rope, bags, carpets, etc. Most of the jute mills are located along Hooghly River in West Bengal. Because what are the reasons that these jute mills are in Kolkata itself or near the Hooghly River itself? Because raw jute is available for West Bengal. So raw jute or raw material is available in plenty of number. Inexpensive water transport. Water transport was not expensive, or through the water transport it was easy to transport the heavy material also. A good network of railways, roadways and waterways to facilitate movement of raw material to the mills. Abundant water for processing raw jute, cheap labor from West Bengal and adjoining states of Bihar, Odisha and Uttar Pradesh. Kolkata as a large urban center provides banking, insurance and port facilities for export of jute goods. So in Kolkata, these different centers or different services are provided like banking, insurance and sport facilities also. Now we'll see challenges faced by jute industry. There was stiff competition in the international market from synthetic substitutes and from other competitors like Bangladesh, Brazil, Philippines, Egypt and Thailand. Now what can be the solution for this? In 2005, National Jute Policy was formulated with the objective of increasing productivity, improving quality, ensuring good prices to the jute farmers, and enhancing the yield per hectare. So, when this National Jute Policy has been started or formulated in 2005, these different issues have been raised that the productivity should be increased than quality should improve. For the farmers, good prices for their material should be provided, as well as to encourage the farmers to grow more jute in their farms. India stands second as a world producer of sugar. Now we'll see for the sugarcane factories. So in India, a large number of sugarcane farms are there. India occupies the first place in the production of gur and khansari. The raw material used in this industry is bulky. It is the second largest agro-based industry after cotton. In 2010-11, there were over 662 sugar mills in the country spread over Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Maharashtra, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, Gujarat, Punjab, Haryana and Madhya Pradesh. Most of the mills are near the sugar cultivated areas. Now, what are the challenges in front of the sugar mill factories? There are such challenges include the seasonal nature of the industry. It is obvious that sugarcane harvesting is in limited period of the year, so it is seasonal. Old and inefficient methods of production. So to produce sugar, that old methods are used and inefficient methods which are not enough, that type of methods still are used to produce the sugar. Transport delay in reaching cane to factory. Due to still people are using bullock carts or tractors to transport the sugar cane from farm to factory, so it gets delay and it creates the problem for sugar manufacturing. It needs to maximize the use of baggage. So to use these baggage, it should be maximized. It is needed that the use of sugar or that some facility should be given to the farmers, or for the transportation different methods should be used to reduce the delay to reach up to the factory. Now we'll see that sugar industry is shifting from northern to southern India. Why it is there? Earlier, UP and Bihar were the main producer of sugarcane. Therefore, most of the sugar mills were located in these two states only. But now sugar mills are shifted towards Maharashtra and Karnataka because of the following reasons: that why these northern industries have been shifted towards southern India. Per hectare production of sugarcane is higher in southern India. This is the most important reason that industries shifted towards southern India, that these sugarcane factories have higher production. Then black soil is quite suitable for cultivation of sugarcane. Bihar and UP soil is not that much suitable, but in Maharashtra, Karnataka and Gujarat, black soil is there, so it is very much suitable for sugarcane crop. Sucrose content in the sugarcane is higher in Maharashtra and Karnataka. It means more sugar can be produced for less sugarcane. So this is again a profitable thing, that in Maharashtra and Karnataka, which sugarcane is grown, in that sugarcane sucrose content is more, so more sugar can be produced. Mills and machines are new in southern states. New and modern machines increase the productivity. So mills are new, machines are set up new, and that's why the productivity also will be increased due to the new machines. Crushing season for sugar cane is longer in southern states. Compared to UP and Bihar, in Maharashtra, Karnataka, Gujarat, this crushing season is longer from November to May or June. This sugarcane crushing is going on. So it is good to shift the factories, the sugarcane mill from northern to southern India. Cooperative sugar mills are running successfully in southern states. In our states, which sugar mills are there, those are run by cooperatives, so it is good. Next type of industry we'll see, that is mineral based industry. In mineral based industries, there are iron steel industries, aluminium smelting industry, chemical industries, fertilizer industries, cement industries, automobile industries. First of all, we'll see iron and steel industry. This industry is called as basic industry because it provides raw material to many other industries such as machine and tools, transport equipment, construction material, etc. It is also called as heavy industry because raw materials, that is iron ore, coal, limestone, are bulky in nature. And most of the steel plants are located in Chota Nagpur region because there are iron ore deposits in Chota Nagpur plateau. That's why these iron steel industries are located there. Today, steel industries in India are facing many of the problems. What are these problems? There is high cost of production, limited availability of coking coal, low productivity of labor, irregular supply of energy, raw materials are found only in certain pockets of India, poor infrastructure like transport and communication, etc. Why is the iron and steel industry located in peninsular India only? There are certain reasons which factors we have seen affecting the location. That good and more raw material is available in peninsular India. Large quantities of quality iron and steel is available in peninsular India. Power resources, coal, oil and water power are available in peninsular India. Skilled labor is available, cheap and skilled labor is available. It can be also had from Bihar, Orissa, West Bengal and MP. Besides, skilled labor is also locally available. Skilled labor, educated labor is also there and unskilled labor also is available. Nearness to market. Large indigenous markets are available in peninsular India. Port facility is there to export iron and steel manufactured goods. Iron smelting is the second most important metallurgical industry in India. It is light, resistant to corrosion, a good conductor of heat, malleable and becomes strong when it is mixed with other metals. It is used to manufacture aircraft, utensils and wires. It has gained popularity as a substitute of steel, copper, zinc and lead in a number of industries. Aluminium smelting plants in the country are located in Orissa, West Bengal, Kerala, Uttar Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Maharashtra and Tamil Nadu. In 2008-9, India produced over 15.29 lakh million tons of aluminium. Bauxite, the raw material used in the smelters, is a very bulky, dark reddish colored rock. Regular supply of electricity and as assured source of raw material at minimum cost are the two prime factors for location of the industry. Next type of industry is chemical industry. The chemical industry in India is fast growing and diversifying. It contributes approximately 3% of the GDP. It is the third largest in Asia and occupies the 12th place in the world in terms of its size. It comprises both large and small scale manufacturing units. The chemical industry is its own largest consumer because basic chemicals undergo processing to further produce other chemicals that are used for industrial application agriculture, or directly for consumer markets. There are two types of chemical industries: organic chemical industries and inorganic chemical industries. Organic chemicals include petrochemicals, which are used for manufacturing of synthetic fibers, synthetic rubber, plastics, dyestuffs, drugs, and pharmaceuticals. Organic chemical plants are located near oil refineries or petrochemical plants. Inorganic chemicals include sulfuric acid used to manufacture fertilizers, synthetic fibers, plastics, adhesives, paints, dyes, stuffs. Nitric acid, alkalis, soda ash used to make glass, soaps, and detergent paper. And caustic soda. These industries are widely spread over the country. The first fertilizer plant in India was set up in Ranipat in Tamil Nadu in 1906. The fertilizer industry is centered around the production of nitrogenous fertilizers. At present, there are 10 public sector undertakings and one in cooperative sector at Hazira in Gujarat under the Fertilizer Corporation of India. Now, how these industries are distributed? Gujarat, Tamil Nadu, Uttar Pradesh, Punjab, and Kerala produce more than half of the total fertilizer production in India. Andhra Pradesh and Karnataka are other important producers because of the easy availability of natural gas. The fertilizer industry is widely spread in the country. Now, what is the production in India? India produces about 1 million tons of nitrogenous, 4 million tons of phosphoric, and 1.7 million tons of potassic fertilizers. The country is required to import potassium from abroad. Next is cement industry, which is important industry nowadays for construction of roads, buildings, bridges, everything. We need cement. For all the construction activities, we need cement nowadays. This industry requires bulky and heavy raw materials like limestone, silica, alumina, and gypsum. Coal and electric power are needed apart from rail transportation. The first cement plant was set up in Chennai in 1904. For example, ACC Cement, Chettinad Cement, Ultratech Cement. Next is automobile industry. Automobiles provide vehicle for quick transport of goods, services, and passengers. Trucks, buses, cars, motorcycles, scooters, three-wheelers, and multi-utility vehicles are manufactured in India at various centers. The industry is located around Delhi, Gurgaon, Mumbai, Pune, Chennai, Kolkata, Lucknow, Indore, Hyderabad, Jamshedpur, and Bengaluru. Most of the important cities have these automobile industries. The next and last technology or industry is information technology and electronic industry. The electronics industry covers a wide range of products from transistors, sets to television, telephone, cellular telecom, pagers, telephone exchange, radars, computers, and many other equipments required by the telecommunication industry. Bangalore has emerged as the electronic capital of India. Other important centers for electronic goods are Mumbai, Delhi, Hyderabad, Pune, Chennai, Kolkata, Lucknow, and Coimbatore. By 2010-11, STPI, that is Software Technology Parks of India, have come up across 46 locations at different centers of India. A major impact of this industry has been on employment generation. It is encouraging to know that 30% of the people employed in this sector are women. You can see the locations of this industry, information technology. From all the parts of the country, these industries are there, information technology and electronic industries like Srinagar, Mohali, Noida, Jaipur, Gandhinagar, Indore, Mumbai, Pune, Bengaluru, Mysuru, Tiruvananthapuram, Chennai, Hyderabad, Visakhapatnam, Bhubaneswar, Kolkata and Guwahati. From all the sides of the all the cities, important cities have these industries. Now we will see the next part, that is industrial pollution and environmental degradation. First of all, we will see for the air pollution. Air pollution is caused by the emission of CO2, carbon monoxide, sulfur dioxide, etc. Chimneys of the industries produce heat, leading to global warming and greenhouse effect. Use of CFC in various industrial products depletes ozone layer, which filters ultraviolet rays of the sun. Air pollution affects the human health of humans, animals and plants alike, and also causes damages to buildings. Next comes, that is water pollution. Dumping of organic and inorganic industrial waste into water bodies pollute the water. Water pollution is also caused by the discharge of the untreated chemicals waste like dyes, detergents, acids, heavy metals like lead and mercury, plastics, fertilizers, etc. Due to the mixing of these all the chemicals in the water, bodies are contaminated, are polluted now. Industries which produce paper, pulp, chemical, leather, acids, dyes, fertilizers, etc. generate lots of toxic waste which kills the aquatic life. Aquatic life or water animal life also has come in danger. Then the thermal pollution. Thermal pollution of water occurs when hot water from factories and thermal plants is drained into rivers and ponds before cooling. Noise pollution also has become a big problem now. High intensity sound generated by running machines, siren, drilling, fans, etc., leading to noise pollution. It causes irritation, hearing impairment, heart attack, etc. among the nearby people. Then how can we control all these problems? How can we control of environmental degradation? With minimizing use of water for processing by reusing and recycling it into or more successive stages. Harvesting of rainwater to meet water requirements, treating hot water and effluents before releasing them in rivers and ponds. Treatment of industrial effluents can be done in 3 phases. Primary treatment by mechanical means. This involves screening, grinding, flocculation and sedimentation. Secondary treatment by biological process. Tertiary treatment by biological, chemical and physical processes. This involves recycling of wastewater. Noise absorbing materials may be used for the factories where big machines are used and it creates a big loud noise. So if it will be used, it will be good. NTPC, National Thermal Power Corporation Limited. NTPC is a major power providing corporation in India. It has ISO certification The corporation has a proactive approach for preserving the natural environment and resources like water, oil, and gas and fuels in places where it is setting up power plants. This has been possible through optimum utilization of equipment, adopting latest techniques, and upgrading existing equipments. Minimizing waste generation by minimizing ash utilization, providing green belts for nurturing ecological balance, and addressing the question of special purpose vehicles for afforestation. Reducing environmental pollution through ash pond management, ash water recycling system, and liquid waste management. Ecological monitoring, reviews, and online database management for all its power stations. In this way, we have seen manufacturing industries, classification of industries, factors affecting industries. Then, on the basis of different industries, we have seen the challenges in front of different industries, how to overcome those challenges, what will be the solutions for these challenges, how the pollution occurs due to these factories, and how can we overcome the problem of pollution, how can we reduce the pollution. All these points we have covered in this lesson. Thank you.